All right, this is kicking off that live stream so that everyone has it on YouTube, and then the replay is immediately available, which is kind of nice for these. Okay, and we are streaming. Let me go ahead and post this link into the team just so they can use this for replays and redirects for anyone who needs it. And thank you, Dakota, for that friendly reminder. All right, so we are looking at the S&P 500. Now, what I was saying before is this is kind of the range that I'm looking at right now in terms of break up or break down. I really thought 2 weeks ago we closed at all-time highs here, that we were going to get a continuation of this. In fact, I started putting on some positions to the upside, which obviously did not work out too well because the weekend dropped by 4%. Well, that was the Nasdaq. So on the S&P, like more like 3%, dropped the very next open. So obviously that set us way back. We grinded all the way up almost to new highs. And what happened the next weekend? Literally did it again, dropped down again. So we've had two massive correction weekends that kind of put us back behind the sticks, so to speak, in terms of trying to make new ground and break through the all-time highs. So it's a very interesting place because there's reason to believe that this keeps getting knocked down as we get toward these highs, and therefore there's the possibility that we're going to move back down to the bottom of the range, or even break lower. Although, like I said, I'm predicting more of an optimistic take on this in Q1. So we kind of have both pressures. Now, what I tend to think is that with the fact that we had the clean break, we closed at all-time highs. We had massive corrections on very, aggressive news, tariffs, and everything else. And the market has continued for the most part to rally up. I'm still cautiously bullish. I know you guys have heard me say that for most of the last 2 years, but I still am. I'm still cautiously bullish when we get this. And I think what's interesting about this week is that we got a decent amount of that tariff news sprinkled in during the week, and we still maintain, right around this 600 level on the SPY. So that makes me a little more confident as well that we're not going to get maybe as big of a weekend scare on, Trump doing a new tariff or something like that. I mean, not that we're safe from that, don't get me wrong. But I think, that impact will start to get muted here a little bit versus the last couple of weekends where we got those really significant drops. And by the way, if you go back, we've had more weekend drops recently than really any time I remember in the last couple of years. But we've also had gaps to the upside. So I'm cautiously bullish, and the trade I'm going to give you is a cautiously bullish trade. Now, I have to give you a full transparency, full disclosure here. So the fact that we've got these big moves down and these rallies back, which has kind of kept us centering out here, is nice for a lot of my strategies. For example, overnight options put together another 4 for 4 week, which is fantastic. Overnight options has been on fire, and it's really fun to trade. On this spike up, our automated option trade that expires today hit a winner there. So that was great. Really nice winner for me there on automated options. Had some other trades do pretty well, but our two-way options, because we've netted right back out to ground zero here, are just kind of floundering in the water. And so we're a little bit, kind of stuck in the middle because the move hasn't been quite big enough to take profit, and yet has been big enough to kind of circle the wagons and get us right back into this break-even spot between 600 and 612, which is exactly where we don't want to be for two-way options. So again, full transparency here. The weekend trade I'm going to give you is a little bit of a hedge against my two-way option. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you. Oops, I canceled the wrong thing. Let me show you what I mean when I say it's kind of a hybrid hedge against our two-way option. So again, this is the S&P 500. This is what the actual two-way option trade is on right now. And if I go to like an hourly chart, this box here represents, let me get rid of the top box just so you can see it better. This box represents my two-way option trade right here. Like I said, a lot of momentum down, looked really positive for us, but then we corrected like we have. And obviously we lost a lot of time kind of in the middle here as the market went sideways, which is what we don't want to see. We want to see what the market's been doing. Up, down, up, that's what we want to see. And even like this kind of grinding is more than enough. But here we got a lot more sideways. And then we got one big surge, but it's starting to be balanced out now. All of that to say, this is the box that we have on our current two-way option trade. So if we get another weekend drop like we just got, boom, we're going to be beautiful. I mean, that's going to be money all day long. However, I'm a little more optimistic. I'm a little more optimistic that after two big weekend drops and the fact that we've already got some of that tariff news sprinkled in, the market has consistently snapped back on major downward pressure. That if we get a gap, it's probably going to be more bullish. Again, this is not a super high conviction opportunity. This is a high risk, but if I had to kind of lean on one side, I like the idea of a potential gap up. So, how is that a hybrid hedge? Well, if I set up a low cost, high risk reward trade somewhere in this range, where if we get a nice gap up, I'm going to make, 150 or 200% return. And if we get a gap down, I'm going to hit my two-way option trade. It's a little bit of a hybrid hedge for what I already have going on. So that's what I'm doing with my weekend trade. I just wanted to be fully transparent that while this weekend trade ID is free, anyone on the session, it's valid for. It is sneakily and selfishly a little bit of a hedge for me against my two-way trade that I currently have on because that trade expires on Monday. And what I really need for that trade to win, most likely, because it's probably not going to go up 15 points, what I really probably need is the gap down. So to protect myself, where if I don't get the gap down, I can still make some money. I'm going to throw on this weekend trade, and that way I have kind of both directions working for me. Okay, so does that make sense? First of all, just give me a yes if you understand what I'm doing here as far as it relates directly to the hedge, and then I'm trading a gap up, and then I'll flip over to the broker and give you the actual direct trade. Of course, I do also have to say this is just so typical. I've been talking about two-way options for 6 months, hardly had a single loser in those 6 months. Finally get to talk about it open, and now we're down on the trade, which is just so obnoxious and typical, but sometimes that's how it goes. So I'm going to try to hedge against that a little bit today with our free trade opportunity. Okay, so what we're going to do here to set up this trade is we are going to, by the way, these are the earnings trades. If you guys can see my screen here, hopefully it's not too small. These are the earnings trades that I want to talk to you about here in a minute as well. So I'll cover those. Remind me not to cover or not to forget to cover the earnings because I really want to at least hint at that, and then we can come back and do a fuller session on Monday. Okay, so what we're going to do here, like I said, is we're going to go to the SPY. We're going to trade the exact asset, same asset that I have the two-way on. That way it's a better hedge. But instead of trading this little gap here, we're going to trade a little more aggressively, like towards 606. Now, very simply put, the higher the gap you trade, the lower the probability, but the higher the risk reward, right? Just like any other trade, lower probability, but higher risk reward. And what we're going for here is, more of an outsized gap. Now, like I said, the last few weekends have moved 2 and 3%. We're not going to get that crazy. We're not going to go for a 2% move, but we might go for 0.5 to 0.75% move that can pay us a really nice risk to reward. Okay. How do we actually do that? Well, really simple. We go into trade. We type in SPY. That's the symbol we want to trade. We want to trade the S&P 500 directly. We look at the current price, which is 603, and then we find how much can we go for based on the risk to rewards. How much movement can we get? Originally, I probably want to go for somewhere around 606. Okay. Why do I want to go somewhere around 606? Because it's about a 0.5% move. Very reasonable move for the market to make over the course of a weekend. Like we just said, market often moves 1%, 2%, sometimes even 3%. So if we go to about a 0.5% move, we're well within the region of probable moves here on the S&P 500. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to switch from the February 7th expiration to the February 10th expiration, because that puts us on Monday's expiration. Now, why do we want to go to Monday's expiration? Well, because that gives us the shortest time frame to capture that move. And the shorter the time frame, the more risk to reward we're going to get. And so since this is kind of a high risk weekend trade, we're going to go ahead and use this Monday expiration right here to box in this trade and lift up that risk to reward as high as we can get it. Now, how many of you guys took the free trade last week on XLE? Anyone in here, give me a yes in the chat if you took the XLE trade, was the free weekend trade from last week. And what you'll notice is on XLE, because of the expiration dates, but also because this is how it moves, we gave it a little more time, right? So we gave it a full 7 days because we said, okay, the sector's been down for 2 days. Now we think the sector is going to go up over the next couple days. And by about Wednesday, we were in good shape and we got that one. Okay, yes, yes, yes. A lot of you guys took it. What percentage did you guys make? I think I ended up getting 68%, I believe, is what I ended up at. How about you guys on the ROI on XLE? Robert got 50. Who else? Jump in here. Let me know what percent, if you know it off the top of your head that you closed. 60 Jen got, okay. 65, okay. That trade was a little bit different, right? That was a sector trade where we wanted to give it 3 to 4 days and capture a very normal return to mean. And this trade is scrunching that down into a shorter time frame here where we're going to kind of squeeze the possibilities and make this market move. And again, I kind of have a built-in hedge here where if I miss this trade completely because the market gaps down, it's kind of a good thing for me because I have this two-way option trade on. So, again, keep that in mind as I talk about this trade. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to change from single, because as you know, when I'm taking these trades and I'm trying to box in my risk to reward, I essentially almost never trade regular calls and puts. So we're going to go from single here to vertical. If you're not familiar with vertical, that's just a spread. It's just putting in the spread for you automatically. Most brokers have this built in, so you can see the spread's already built. And what the spread is going to give you is it's going to give you a nice line in the sand where you can target. So I put that number in there, that 606 up here, okay, which is kind of what I want to target. And now I can see, okay, how much risk reward can I make on a move up to 606? Very clear, very clean. I know exactly what I'm targeting to be able to do that. Okay, so for 606, we can go down very easily and we can look at the 605, 606 spread. You see it right here, 605, 606. And if I click to buy that, we can see the price is right around 34 to 36 cents. Okay, so here's the price, 34, 35 cents. What this means, again, if you're new to spreads, just get comfortable with the math. Oh, by the way, quick timeout, quick side note. Steven was asking me about better understanding spreads this week. And I told him, I personally think when people get into understanding spreads, they really focus on all the wrong stuff. They focus on, how to take advantage of the theta burn or when you're assigned and all this kind of stuff, which not to say it's not important, but for me, I always start with the structural math because for me, it's a risk to reward basis. It's about what kind of trade can I set up? And if this happens, what does it mean for me from an ROI perspective? Do I want to trade Apple for a $2 move that pays me 50% or a $4 move that pays 120%? So for me, it's all about understanding the structure and the setup. And he said, maybe I should host him and teach him live from the ground up how I approach this, and then we could record it and do a class. Would that be valuable? Do you guys think if me and Steven literally did a class together with him as more of a beginner, where I just showed him from the ground up how I approach spreads, how I build these structures out, how I analyze it? Because for me, everyone kind of does this backwards. They talk about the language and the lingo, and they don't actually get down to why you would want to use a spread and how then you would build the spread that you want to use. Okay. Okay. Dakota, you got to screenshot that and send it to Steven because we got a lot of action there. Okay, cool. We'll do that. We'll do it. Either we'll do it just free for everyone, or we'll do like a $5 class where we spend a little more time and set up some free trades. One of the two options. We'll make it very accessible, but one of those two things we'll do. Okay. So on that note, what I'm looking at here is, okay, if the SPY goes to 606, I'm going to pay about 33 cents. What does that actually mean in real terms? Well, it means I'm paying 0.33, okay, for a spread that has the potential to be worth $1. Okay, that's what it means. I'm paying 33 cents for a spread that has the chance to be worth $1. So if I pay 33 and I make the dollar, then we know our risk reward. Our risk reward is 33 cents cost, 67 cents reward, because the spread can be worth $1. So if I get $1, I'll have made 67 cents on the 33 cents. So my risk reward here is, about a 200% ROI on a 0.5% move in the SPY. Now, let me just pause for a second, because to me, again, going back to what I was just saying about Steven, this is where things click for people. Like, this is where once you get comfortable with this and you understand the dynamics, you can start to say, wait a minute, okay, so I can either trade SPY targeting 0.5% move and make a 200% ROI, or I could go for a 0.25% move and make an 80% ROI, or I could go for a 0% move and make a 46% ROI. This starts to frame it up, and now you understand what the cause and effect of the trades you're actually setting up are. So does this make sense? You guys all understand we are targeting 606. That's the top of the spread, and these are the numbers that we get out of that trade, which in this case is about a 200% ROI, because we would pay 33, and if it's worth $1, we would make 67 cents. That's the actual framework of the trade that we would be taking. About 31 cents now, because the S&P is dropping, which is, again, the more the S&P drops, by the way, today, the better for our trade, because it gets closer to my 2A option trade, while also giving me more upside on this hedge trade. So it's kind of, if we give this thing 10 more minutes and then put the trade in right at around 2 p.m. as we end the class, it could drop even a little bit further. Andre, no, this is not 100%, because we're not getting 67 cents. We're making 67 cents. We're getting $1, so we're making 67 on the 33 cost. So we're making an additional 67, or about 204% net ROI, because the $1 is what we're actually getting if we get a full value of the spread. Okay, so I'll give it a minute here. I'll put this trade in right at the end. You guys can put it in now. I'll go ahead and type in the chat, but I'm going to wait a minute. I'm going to see if maybe this thing drops another $1. If it doesn't drop another $1, I'll pay a little bit more. No worries. But for me, this is one that I'll just kind of put in right at 2 o'clock and whatever price we get. So let me go ahead and just type it in. If you guys want to take it now, you can. So we are buying to open the 605 SPY call, February 10th expiration. Okay. Steven said, heck yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, because he was saying maybe you should just walk me through it in real time with me asking all kind of the newbie questions or whatever. And then people can attend. We can either do it as like a little class, $5 class or whatever. Oh, I'm opening Slack. Or we could just do it free, but it might be hard to kind of do like good Q&A and extra questions and all that. So pay debit of about 32 cents. Okay, so if you guys want to jump into this trade, this is how you could do it. And this would be a 1 market day trade, because the expiration is February 10th. So that's Monday, which means we're only getting 1.5 days of market action, or 1 day and some change here with today. And we're basically saying, let's make this market move 0.5% up in order to claim about a 200% ROI. Now, just to be super, super duper clear, this is not a high probability trade, okay? These weekend trades where we're trading a one-dimensional gap trade are not high probability trades. But the idea here is to be able to target a 0.5% move and generate a 200% ROI. I mean, you can't really get better dynamics on a trade than that from my point of view. So this is basically as good of a risk to reward scenario on the broad market as I personally think you can ever trade. Doesn't mean it's a high probability trade, right? Your probability on this trade is probably slightly less than a coin flip. However, the risk reward dynamics are really good. So that's the weekend trade. I'll jump back and take it here in a minute. I just want to see if maybe we drop another dollar, because if we will, it'll get me a little bit closer to my bottom edge on two-way options, which I wouldn't mind. Okay. Uh, Before I do that, let me walk you through the two trades from earnings. Now, I know some of you were in the class yesterday. I know some of you took the Fortinet trade with Graham. I think Graham did some higher strikes. I ended up doing 106, 107. And you can see that trade is currently showing about an 86%. It probably just dropped a little bit because it was up about 180% when I started the call, but Fortinet just dropped a dollar. Yeah. Fortinet just dropped a dollar. So basically, I need this to stay up above 107 for about a 200% gain on Fortinet, which looks pretty decent. I mean, we've got 2 hours, so we never know what can happen. But obviously, this was, a great trade. I made about 1,400 bucks on it as of the current, but I'm hoping to make, a little over 2 grand if we get that move, or if we get that price to stay above 107. Now, we can talk about that trade. We can talk about Fortinet, and that's fine. It's a cool, fun kind of coin flip trade. But the trade I actually really like is this CLSK. This trade is actually a lot more fun to me. Now, you might notice, Nate, it's only up 8%. Why do you like that trade more than the one that, could hopefully hit, 180% ROI? Well, the reason I like it, even though it's probably the quote unquote boring way to trade earnings, is because it's the only way I know of to grab 8, 9, 10% in almost every condition with earnings. Because what I'm doing here on CLSK is I am buying some stock. So in this case, I bought $35,000 worth of stock. Okay. And then I'm selling covered calls against that stock. These are the calls I sold. So probably the most boring way you'll hear to trade options. But what I love about it is when earnings are around the corner, what happens to the options? They go crazy in value, right? The options go ballistic in value, especially on big, high expected moves like we have one in Shopify next week, for example, and some other big names where you have really huge expectations on the moves. And so the options get very, very expensive. So what's a good thing to do when the options are really, really expensive? Sell them, because you can get a really nice premium out of selling options when those premiums are really juicy. And so what I do is I buy a stock that I like, and then I sell the really expensive premium. And what this does is it gives me a really nice window where I can make money. So obviously, if you are in a regular market condition, so let's actually go look at CLSK on the charts here. Okay, let me just zoom this down a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, here it is. So normally the way that you're trading earnings is you're entering right here at the end of the day. And then what you need is a really big move in one direction or the other, right? So this is, by the way, this is overnight, so it's not exactly a fair comparison, but I'm just giving you the example. What you need is you need a really big move in one direction or the other. So you're basically saying, if I'm long, I have an area up here I have to get over. If I'm short, I have an area I have to go down here and get past. And everything in between is no man's land. That's typically how earnings trades work, almost all the ways you set them up. And then if you do the opposite and you try to trade like a direct premium strategy, well, then you just don't have very much upside, because even if you construct them, at least in my opinion, even if you construct them really, really well, you're still going to make 1.5 or 2% if you want to hedge yourself and make sure you're caught. But if you buy the stock and you just outright sell these really juicy calls, you have a really big window. That window is actually even bigger than the one I just showed you, like this, that puts you like in a, 6 to 10% gain. And I don't know about you, but making 6 to 10% overnight with a high confidence like that is pretty amazing. And so that's why you'll see me often on these earnings trades, put more volume. Because like obviously I wouldn't normally put 35 grand into an overnight trade. But on something like this, where you have, most of the potential kind of locked in, you're in really good shape. Now, the big risk you have doing this strategy is if the stock absolutely tanks. But the truth is, you have that risk anyway. If you're trading regular options, you have that risk anyway. What this does is it actually buffers that risk. And so the way this works is exactly this trade here. In this case, CLSK did outperform. Okay. So what happened? Well, the stock is up about 13% from my entries. Everyone see this where I have the blue line? This is the actual stock return. Okay. So the stock is up about 13%, and then it overperforms. So the calls, they're way down. Okay. So my protective calls start losing money. But the cool thing about this strategy is they can only start losing money once my stock has made a whole bunch of money. So this sold call can only lose money once my stock is making me a whole bunch of money. And that's why I think it's a really beautiful strategy. Here I'm going to end up making, about $4,000 on the stock and losing, $1,500, $1,600 on the option on the call. And so I'll make about $2,500 net, 8 or 9% on a trade that could have gone a lot of different ways and still put me in position to do that. So I'm thinking I'll do a full session on this, and maybe we could even do a couple of them with live earnings, like Spotify next week. And we can actually walk through and live trade some of these together so you can actually see in real time how I execute the stock and then how I sell the call against it, and then what all my risk to rewards are. There's a couple good options next week. So, for example, here you've got Shopify, really good one that has a ton of volatility that we could potentially trade Monday because it's going to be before open on Tuesday. I don't love early in the week ones because then you have to give it the entire week to shake around, which is frankly not my favorite thing to do. But still, this one normally has great volatility. A whole bunch here. I mean, Gilead Science, DoorDash, Lyft, all normally have good volatility, which we would trade Tuesday at the end of the day. Couple good ones here. Smaller stocks with good liquidity. Thursday is my favorite day to trade earnings because I can box the earnings trade into just one day. Coinbase, I'll just tell you ahead of time, I'm going to take a big shot at Coinbase. I haven't actually looked at my calendar yet for Thursday, so I'm not exactly sure what I have at the end of the market, but I'd love to trade Coinbase live with everyone. I'm probably going to put like 50 grand into Coinbase overnight and give that one a rip. If you guys want to join me and do that live, we can try to get that one. DraftKings also a nice mover. Roku also a nice mover. So a lot of good stocks that we can put some earnings plays in. And what I want to teach you is just kind of this boring way to do it, where you lock in your potential and you kind of put guide rails around what you can make. And instead of chasing the calls, which I do chase some calls on occasion, trying to hit it big, but instead of doing that, you can actually sell those really inflated calls and put yourself in position to make good money. And again, some people will tell you, oh, hey, you don't want to sell covered calls on earnings because they'll wipe out all your profits. I personally think that's a ridiculous thing to say, because as long as you do it right, your call can only start losing money after your stocks are already making a whole bunch of money. So for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. And I think it's a great opportunity, something kind of just to put in your tool chest and learn how to do. So I'll try to do a kind of, if this works for everyone, if this is exciting to you, if it's boring to you, just tell me. You won't hurt my feelings. So you can just tell me if you'd rather, do the class when I do these free sessions on other stuff. I'll take your feedback for sure. No problem whatsoever. But what I was thinking is Monday, I could do our live session at 1:30 as more of a step-by-step training. So instead of just kind of looking at the markets and what I've got going on, I could do more of a step-by-step workshop. Here's how we do the earnings trade. And then we could actually go ahead and put some opportunities together live for the rest of the week. Now, some people ask, what's the risk? Well, the risk is that the stock goes down, right? So if you're buying the actual stock and it gets absolutely pummeled, that is your risk. And you would risk, you would lose whatever percentage the stock went down. So if you own 100 grand of the stock and it goes down 10%, you're down 10 grand. If it goes down 20%, you're down 20 grand. So that's the risk on the downside. The thing that I like about it is that since we're selling the call, it actually buffers against that risk. And as the stock goes down, the call value goes up. So it's basically a way where everything in the middle you make money, everything on the upside you make money, and then on the downside you actually take less risk than ordinary earnings trades. So for me, that's a really powerful combination of outcomes, and I'd love to kind of walk you guys through it in real time and do some trades. All right, cool. Yeah, got a lot of positivity there. So yeah, that's what we'll try to do. Let me just check Fortinet real quick. Okay, Fortinet's hanging out good. Even with the downward pressure, we're getting Fortinet to hang around 109. So just needed to do that for about 2 more hours. Okay, let me go ahead and jump back to this trade. What I'm going to do here, we did get the SPY following what, another $1.40 or so. So kind of what we were hoping, gives me even a better risk to reward here. So I'm going to do a couple contracts on this one. See if I can get filled here for about 28 cents. You can see right here, this is my risk to reward right here on this trade. So the risk to reward here, I'm going to pay about $840. And then my potential profit is going to be about $2,100. So, a little over 2 to 1, about 240% return if I were to hit a full target on that trade. So that's what I'm going to try to go ahead and get filled for, and just kind of play this market gap directly. And, and if we get that bounce up, great. And if we get a bounce down, obviously, again, that's more advantageous for the two-way options. Two-way options, our level is 600. So we're only $1 away on the downside from the two-way options kind of breaking out of that box. Very close. But obviously, if we get a gap up, it'll be bad, right? Because we don't want to gap up on two-way options. If we gap up, we'll kind of be right back into the middle. I'm not going to do a target on this one, Kamar, specifically because I'm going to kind of keep it in tandem with the two-way options trade. So normally I just put a target on it and try to get closed out if we got the gap. The reason I'm not doing that today is because I am going to see how it opens and then kind of compare it to the two-way trade and essentially manage them together. And Jim, yes, you could go for a lower level. You could definitely go for a lower level because the market has moved down. So you could go for 601, 602 even, and still get over 100% ROI. Dan, we have one on SPY and one on QQQ. So we have one on each right now. Jay, yes, that trade is in the chat. Let me go ahead and grab it and post it because there's been a whole bunch of chats here. Here it is. Let me go ahead and post that for you. Oops, copying too much. There you go. So I posted that one more time in the chat. Again, high risk weekend trade, guys, here, just to be super clear. High risk, high risk. Okay, one more thing. If you guys want to stick around, I do want to give everyone one more chance. I've been beating the dead horse on this all week. I do want to give everyone one more chance on overnight options before the week is out. We've had an awesome week. I've been bashing you over the head, telling you to get into overnight options. We were 4 for 4, another perfect week on overnight options. So if anyone is interested and you're not in, I do want to remind you to stick around so that we can stream that presentation on overnight options if you are not yet a member of overnight options. So if you're already a member, that's it. We're over our time limit. You can go ahead and drop out. If you're not an overnight options member, I just want to kind of one more chance before the week's out. I know I've been sending you 100 telegrams about getting into it. But I feel like I wouldn't be doing the world justice if everyone who's available to join overnight options doesn't do it, because it's just been so fantastic. This volatility is playing really well into our hands. Another perfect week this week, 4 for 4, and just been on fire with that. So I've been having a lot of fun, and I want every single person to be part of overnight options. Just got filled on my trade there for 28 cents. So that's kind of the final action piece for today. Hopefully you guys thought this was valuable today. Hopefully our trade, we get that gap up, or we get the gap down and make money on two-way. Either way, I'll be happy. Either just move, market, do something. Trump say something, and give us a move one direction or the other over the weekend on the S&P. And yeah, so again, hopefully it was valuable. Hopefully we covered it a lot of ground. And last thing on our agenda here is we're gonna pop up the overnight options presentation. Just stream it directly here into Zoom, so you can check that out. If you are, if you're not a member, I hope you become a member by the end of the day. Other than that, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Delaney, Dakota, and everyone else who made this happen. And yes, I will be giving a two-way option official trade update at 3 p.m. today. Absolutely, I will be doing that at 3 p.m. Today for all of our two-way option members. And I'll even mention to the two-way option members in that update, consider taking this little hedge trade, because it's a fun little way to kind of put yourself in position either way this weekend. Again, thank you guys. Hopefully this was valuable. Looking forward to Monday talking about the earnings specific trade and maybe getting a few more of those live next week. And overall, just a fantastic week. I'm obviously bummed about two-way options kind of being in the middle ground, but it's been a lot of fun to see everything else kind of banging on all cylinders, including our earnings trades from yesterday, which is always a nice bonus. So I'll shut up now. I'll hand it over to Delaney. She's going to help set up the overnight options stream right here in this room. So stay here. Don't go anywhere. If you want to learn about overnight options, it's going to be streamed directly into the Zoom room. And I hope you guys take a crack at it. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, folks. Thanks for hanging out today. Delaney Cadden here, Associate Publisher with Prosperity Pub. I have the pleasure of working with Nate and a bunch of other awesome experts. So you heard about all the great stuff of overnight options again. So I want to make sure you get to check out the full presentation. If you aren't in, now is the time. If you have any questions, I'll be here for the whole webinar. So just drop them in the chat and I got you.
So you guys know we always got to start off with the fun stuff. Profits performance shown, not typical. We make no future earnings claims. This is based on all of the data that we have from the back testing and the forward testing. One thing you'll note here, I'll walk you through a couple of times. The win rate is going to vary. So in some cases, the win rate, I'm going to use the 88% win rate. That's all of the trades. And then another case, I'm going to use like the last 3 months, which is a little bit lower. It's 80%. Now you might be thinking, oh no, Nate, your win rate dropped 8%. It's actually, I guess should be updated, more like 82%. But hey, your win rate dropped. Well, the cool thing about this strategy is that since September, our win rate actually has gone down about 6%, but our profits have gone up. It's exactly what we're going to talk about today because the volatility has been bigger. So if you looked at that track record, I'll show you a little bit more later. We have actually dropped our win rate and made more money, which is a trade-off that I will take anytime. So you'll see a couple different examples. You'll see the full testing, which is about an 88% win rate, and then you'll see some of the recent, which is more like the 80 to 82% win rate. And what's cool about that is exactly what we're talking about today, which is how the volatility has actually juiced up the average win. So with a slightly lower win rate, we've actually made more money. And this week is obviously a great example of that. So we'll jump into that. Just wanted to kind of give you a disclaimer there on where we're at within the actual trading. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Nate Tucci. Thanks for being here. Now, tomorrow we're going to have another data point, another opportunity to move the markets like we've seen all week and going back to last week. And today I want to talk about how do we get in, how do we take advantage of that before tomorrow, because we don't wait and trade the reaction with this strategy. We actually trade the day before. So lately we've been really on a nice hot streak. We won 10 out of 11 trades going into the end of January. And then like I just shared, now we've won 3 more. We won Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we are now at 13 out of 14 of our last signals on the overnight income project. And the idea here is to take advantage of the market without playing catch up, without guessing what the market's going to do next, just leveraging the volatility for the next day. Now, these 24-hour moves are exactly what we're looking for. So if you look at, for example, the last couple of weeks where we've had shake up and shake downs, the key there is as long as we get enough movement, we're going to take advantage of the overnight phenomenon. Now, recently, I discovered this. So this is going back to, I guess August or so when I really started actively trading that. And then before that was a totally different thing. So going back to, I don't know, January of 2023 or maybe even a little bit earlier, where I really started focusing on how do you make money with small moves. That strategy, called automated options, is one that allows you to place a quick trade, wait no more than 2 weeks, and if everything works out, you automatically close out about a 50% gain over 70% of the time. Now, after doing that and starting to trade that live, me and Graham first brought that to the world, again, going back to early last year. Now, if you were there and you paid attention, chances are you're part of the automated options team. We just closed out another winner today on automated options, and I'm sure that you loved being a part of that. Art, Carlos, Richard, and about 200 more people have given me positive feedback on that strategy. Now, if you are in automated options, you probably have had a great time. But this podcast actually isn't about automated options, just to be clear. Today, we're talking about something which I think has become much, much bigger. And it's all thanks to a new set of data, the overnight market phenomenon that dates all the way back to the 1990s. We're now able to amplify those automated options in a fraction of the time. So when you hear me say overnight, that's what I mean. As a matter of fact, we place a trade right before the market closes, just like we're going to do today. And if it works out, we automatically close out less than 24 hours later, targeting right around $823 based on a 5K stake. And the best part here is it is not a blue moon once in a blue moon opportunity, very far from it. Not once a month, not even once per week. We do this overnight option setup 4 times each week. So it's very active. For example, let's run through August last year. Now, if you remember, I love using August as an example because it was such a crazy month. Things were not pretty. S&P was down 10%. NASDAQ was down nearly 20% in that August dip, and even Bitcoin fell off a cliff. However, if you knew about the overnight phenomenon, none of that would have mattered at all. So if you start with $2,500, let's go through August. Monday, August 5th, place your first trade. Boom, $14.53. Not bad for an overnight trade. Then the next day, same trade, same setup, same time, $642. Rinse and repeat. Now we're at Wednesday. This one, $2,171 overnight. Then Thursday, going into Friday, that's our last trade of the week, another $611 coming through the door. So all in all, folks would have pocketed $4,878 in overnight income in just that first week of August. That's nearly $5,000 that could have gone towards groceries, the mortgage, savings account, whatever it is, all from clicking a couple buttons each afternoon and then watching as that position automatically closes out the next day. Now, of course, I want to remind you, not every trade will be a winner. In fact, losers are part of the game. Same rules always apply. Never over leverage yourself. Don't go all in on one trade. Luckily, these have hit with, again, this is a little out of date. This takes so many trades, you got to keep it updated. We're at about an 82.5% win rate on live trades the last couple months. So almost 9 out of 10 so far on the live trading. And the cool thing is the wins have been actually bigger than our original testing. So folks get to do this with that, 80+% win rate almost every single day the markets are open. For example, if you just keep churning along in August while most investment community was fretting recession, global war, election, all the crazy stuff in August, you could have tuned all that out and instead just used a couple minutes, same trade, same setup each day. Okay, so let's say now you plowed in some of your winnings from the last week and you do 5K each week. How would you have done in week 2 of August? Well, Monday, $1,597. Tuesday, $1,142. Wednesday, $479. And then finishing the week, Thursday going into Friday, $328. So another $3,548 just in 4 trades following along that week, all hitting automatically. Now, an extra 3 grand might be a lot for some people in here. It might be dropping the bucket, but either way, it is a needle moving amount of cash. And what my favorite part is, while limiting risk, all risk controlled, risk, aware trades where you can scale up or scale down to whatever you want. So if you're looking for a new way to trade, one that doesn't require a ton of effort, actually a couple of minutes each afternoon, but has shown the power to hit literally almost every day, then look no further, because we're going to talk about how these overnight income opportunities actually work, the age-old market phenomenon that makes it all possible, the newest data set that have shown the power to pay out about 86% or 88.6% of the time. Like I said, that's going back through the entire study, over 400 trades. Plus, I'll invite you to join our next opportunity where we're going to be targeting another $823. Again, that's based on the 5K stake today. So welcome. Like I mentioned, my name is Nate Tucci. Now, you probably are already familiar with me. I've been kind of coming from behind the scenes for the last couple of years. Many folks know me from when I publicly shared my all-in trades, turning a 10K account into about $50,000 over a 4-month period. Plus, when I earned about $100,000 last year in my active portfolio, or excuse me, my dividends portfolio that a lot of people tracked. And I'm happy to share that I've been able to deliver on these strategies over and over again across a lot of different ways. You know, a lot of people know me from automated options. A lot of people know me from jump trades. And so it's been a lot of fun over the last couple of years to see people take part in those and actually give incredible feedback, like Carrie or Ken, Dennis. And while I've enjoyed hearing all those stories today, it's actually about something different, because we're talking about this much more active, much more kind of high paced strategy with overnight options, which has really allowed me to supercharge the number one trade setup I do and pair it with what I think is actually the single most powerful market force of anything that happens in the stock market over the last 3 decades, which allows anyone to target right around $823 in overnight income almost every day the market is open. So that's why I call it the Overnight Income Project. And today I'm inviting you live as we target our next opportunity. Now, I already showed you the first couple weeks of August. You could just kind of see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, how that works. And so I just want to keep going here with the third week of August, which is the 19th. Now, again, probably don't need to remind you about August. Not exactly a pretty month in the overall market. A lot of people panicking, a lot of people worried about inflation, still are, by the way, 6 months later. But with overnight income, that doesn't matter at all, because each and every day, Monday through Thursday, we just pile into the same opportunity. One that showed the power to pay out right around $823, and we get to take advantage of it almost every single weekday. So Monday, August 19th, starting with 5K, looking at about $555 on Monday, not bad. Place again on Tuesday, $507, not bad. Day 3, that's Wednesday. Same trade, same story, about $507. Then Thursday, going into Friday, one more opportunity on overnight income. Sure enough, hit again, about $1,343. And of course, you'll notice lots of different candles here. Red candles, green candles, candles that hardly go anywhere. And yet, we're still hitting very consistent wins with overnight options. Now, our back test shows that with these overnight income plays, you have incredible upside, okay? Like, again, an 88% win rate. But just to be super clear, there's winners and losers along the way. This is not meant to say, hey, today's trade's it, go all in. Certainly not meant to be that. So just to be fully transparent, even in a great month like August, we actually had 2 losers, right? That's kind of how it goes, even with a high hit rate strategy. But the cool thing is here, if you just put $2,500 in each trade, you know, kind of across those 17 trades, you ended up with about $5,552 in overnight income. Again, that's without compounding. So essentially, you would have doubled your stake even on a 18 to 20% average win, just because you get to swing the bat over and over and over again. So the average person brings in right about $4,960 on average per month in the United States. Now, unfortunately, in today's economy, that's not enough to get ahead. Something that I've been talking about, again, going all the way back to 2023, which is why 61% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's even worse for anyone hoping to retire soon. Retirement studies show that, it used to be if you have $1 million set aside, you're good to go. You can live the retirement of your dreams. Now they say you need about an extra 800 grand just to be comfortable. So they've almost doubled the amount needed for retirement just in the last decade that people need to have stored away. which is why millions of people have been forced to delay their retirement 5, 10, even 15 years out. And it's just getting worse essentially every quarter as more and more people say they're putting their retirement on hold and they're going back into the workforce. So I've been saying it for months now. That's not the American dream. That's the American nightmare. Why? Because many, many, many Americans and people worldwide too, but specifically in America, have been sold this kind of American dream where if you just, sock away money for 40 years, do all the right things, then you have the American dream. You can retire anywhere you want, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case in today's America. And so for a lot of people, that turns into, I thought I was doing everything right. Now I have to go back to work when I thought I was going to be spending time with my grandkids, which is just, like I said, kind of a nightmare. But my genuine hope is that the override options could actually start to make a real practical difference for people on a day by day basis and have more winning months like August, September, October, November, and December have been. Now, I know that any given month, $5,000, $6,000 is not retire overnight type of money. That's not what I'm talking about with overnight income. What I am talking about is chipping away. And in this case, it would have been enough to double the monthly income for the average person in the United States, which means just by kind of having that working in the background, you might have a little more freedom and be able to do a little more things that you want. Maybe that's putting some money in an emergency fund, which studies show most people don't have. Maybe it's actually going to do some stuff that you want. Book a round of golf. I'm going to Pebble Beach next month, and I'm pretty sure the 4,900 is not going to cut it for Pebble Beach. But the point is, you can actually have a little bit of extra income from your trading account, which for most people is the goal of the trading account, right? To actually have some extra income. Yet most people I talk to aren't actually withdrawing any income from their trading account. So it's those type of results that have gotten me so excited about the overnight income project. Obviously, the last couple of weeks, even more jazzed up about the overnight income project. And so I'm excited to kickstart it with a whole bunch of new people today, do our live trade today. I'll be doing it with however many people want to join me today in overnight income, targeting right around $823. That's again based on the 5K stake. We're actually targeting a little more lately. We're targeting 20, 22, 24%. And while I'm not going to promise future gains, never will, we're at about 81% from live trades, even with going for higher targets. So our win rate has maintained above 80%, even as we've extended and gone for bigger targets, which is why I'm so confident day in and day out to keep swinging the bat on that trade. Quite a few people concerned about the economy, concerned about the debt, concerned about tariffs, concerned about Fed rate, all that kind of stuff. And if all of that stacks up to a major recession around the corner. First off, I want to be very clear that I do think that's a legitimate concern. Now, my prediction is that we're not going to see that exactly in 2025, or at least the first 3 quarters of 2025. However, I would never predict that boldly enough not to be prepared for it. I think it's a very legitimate concern. And the last thing that you want is to actually be holding the bag when the market stalls out. I've talked about this, recently in the last couple of weeks. It's not really the correction that hurts you. It's the time you lose by not having your nest egg be building for a 4-year period or a 6-year period or a 12-year period. Because not only in overnight income is our money not tied up for months, weeks, or even days, literally one day in and out the next, we avoid a whole bunch of the overall market risk. We're avoiding long-term trends and everything else. But it's also the ability to target a couple $100, couple $1,000, whatever your starting stake is, every single day, Monday through Thursday, regardless of which way the markets are headed. Meaning, if the market's in a trend up, if it's sideways, if it's down, just like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, doesn't actually matter. We're not missing out on opportunities. We're not avoiding opportunities. We're just swinging the bat consistently, regardless of which way the markets are headed. And that's why I think Overnight Income Project is such a good opportunity right now in the specific timing. For example, look at January when the markets were actually taking a beating. If you guys remember last year, someone started with 5K. They could have cashed in almost every single day, 533, 333, 328, and 106, just consistently swinging the bat, even as the market went down. In the middle of January, stocks went ripping higher. Folks could have seen another batch of overnight winners, 1142, 328, 789, and it finished the month strong when stocks were basically going sideways. Another set of winning trades, 492, 1,985, 324. And while January was not exactly a perfect month, if you stack all those trades together, you end up at 16 for 17 winning opportunities and about $6,641 in overnight income. Again, ignoring all the markets, not using indicators, not waiting for entry and exit signals, setting up the trade each day, automatic exit. And by the way, the last couple of weeks have been very similar to that. Up, down, volatility, gaps in both directions, and yet we're 14 for 15 or 13 for 14 in our last set of trades. Same idea. Now, before I show you how that's possible and how this actually works, I have to actually go back a little bit to where it first started. So a while back, like I mentioned earlier, I published a brand new strategy that many of you are familiar with and hit the world by storm. Basically, what made that strategy so special and so unique that as far as I'm aware of, no one had really ever seen that before was this idea of getting a significant profit on a tiny 1% move in the stock market at any point during a 2-week window. So we weren't predicting where the market was going to finish. Basically, as long as we got a small move at any point during the trade, our broker was going to cash us out with a win, even if the stock actually eventually dropped. So even if we got the trade technically wrong, as long as we got the move somewhere in the trade window, we were going to cash out with a winner. And so that's called automated options. I talked about it earlier. Most people in here are probably familiar with it. Now, that way of what I call automated trading, meaning that as soon as you get the move, the broker cashes you out, even from a very tiny move in the stock market, completely transformed trading for now thousands of people out there who are part of my services, and certainly myself included, because now I use this in almost every different set of trades that I do. And many of my members would say the same thing that Modi said. $11,000 in 9 weeks. Roger up $18,620, literally with all automatic exits. And that's because the live trades have been really, really good. We've had over 70% win rate. Model portfolio up 14 grand in just a couple of months. And honestly, with results that good, when we first started getting that batch of winners on automated options, I never really planned on doing anything differently with it. I mean, I had that 2-week window. It worked beautifully. I still do it. We had a winner today, but that was before I stumbled across some really shocking market data that allows us to supercharge exactly what we were doing in automated options. And it's an overnight phenomenon that gives us the same type of opportunities in 24 hours or less, usually much less, by the way. Now, that was September 9th, so that's going back, 4 months, that I was on a panel with Chris Pulver. Now, we had about 1,000 people on that conference call when he first revealed this overnight phenomenon, which I had seen before, but really never had that light bulb moment until this time around. Because what Chris was doing was warning people that during the day, there's no money to be made. Trading, trying to get direction out of the daytime from 9:30 to 4 p.m. is brutal. However, overnight, the stock market makes all the strongest gains. And that was really the key insight that unlocked everything for me. So let me show you what I mean. If you look at this chart, this is exactly the chart that Chris shared that goes all the way back to 1993, 30 years of data. And it shows you the average market return during the day versus trading only overnight. Okay, so the blue line is 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's all the movement that happens if you open and buy the market as it opens and hold it all day long. For 30 years, if you own the market during the trading day, every day, for 30 years, you end up making about $0, which is just insane. I mean, if I just take a moment to think about that, that is mind-blowing. This amazing stock market of ours that goes up over the decades has produced thousands of percent return during the day for 30 years, the entire day capturing all that movement essentially equals a 0 return. However, if you look at the orange line, that's when all of the profit is when the market is technically closed. That's where all the upside is. All the big returns that we look back, the last 10, the last 20, the last 30 years are overnight, which is just incredible to think about. So as you can see, there's no money to be made consistently over time with the direction during the day. All of the best returns happen overnight. Now, we've had this data for years, which proves, obviously, without, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the overnight opportunity is where the money is. That's where the movement is. That's where the gains are. But no one I know is able to actually profit from that on a consistent basis. And that's because traditionally, you need a big, big move to make any sort of meaningful money, right? That's just how it works. If you guys are trading options, you're going to need the market not just to move a penny up, you're actually going to need to overcome a certain size move. And unfortunately, the overnight phenomenon is not going to give you 3% moves every day. It's going to give you, maybe 0.5% or 1% on a big move, and most often much less than that. But that's when the light bulb moment happened because I already had a strategy. What I was already focusing on was cashing in on these tiny moves. And so, what if we were able to take that same approach and simply leverage it on a much shorter time frame overnight? Not only would I actually decrease my risk because now I'm taking away all of this, multiple 2 week trend risk and only holding overnight, but of course, even more importantly, it would allow me to multiply the profit opportunities each week. I get 200 opportunities a year. And because we get a chance to trade it almost every day the markets are open, we could compound and recycle a lot more quickly. So I began back testing this, going back to, I think August is when we first got all our tests back. And I was actually very surprised how early and easy it was to basically manufacture this for the overnight markets. Because again, I already had all the testing for the longer term structure of this exact same kind of idea. And so our very first results basically showed a 239% account growth and then about an 84.2% win rate. And that was on about a 15% average win, which is pretty good. But we actually optimized it further and further, and we were able to get the overall net results from the last couple of years to be about 3 times better than we expected. Now, I'll give you the full details of the entire back test in a minute, but our live trading is actually even better. But first, let me show you exactly how it works. So if you go back September 9th, okay, again, this is live trading. I had a trade that I put on at the end of the day where during the day, the markets made 0%. Okay, so again, kind of a typical day where the market gapped up a little bit, fell down a little bit, filled the gap, 0%. If you bought and held stocks during the day, you walk away empty handed. If you bought call options, you lost money all day long. But if you traded overnight options, you could have traded at 3:30 p.m., just before the closing bell, just like we're going to do today. And sure enough, overnight, the market's made a nice 0.6% gain. Okay, not a game changer. Call options are not going to pay crazy money. But our trade with a 0.6% gain immediately closed out with about a $1,301 winner. Same story July 15th. Markets fell lower and lower all day during the day. Anyone buying stocks during the day, you're taking a beating. Options, you're taking a bigger beating. But with overnight options, you ignore all that action during the day. Place the trade at 3:30 p.m. Markets made a tiny 0.3% gain overnight. Yet, if you're trading overnight options, you could have woke up the next morning and your target would have automatically been hit, about $416 in your account automatically. Now, funny enough, on that day, July 16th, the next day, the markets actually ended up selling off, which happens a lot. But that doesn't matter to us one bit. Because when everything works out, the overnight options automatically cash us out before that trading actually takes over. Okay, so when it works out, when you get that overnight move, you're going to be closed out of the trade, take your money, and it doesn't even matter what happens after that. Now, there's no complex day trading or post-market trading or pre-market trading, no iron condors, no butterflies, no naked puts. We simply place these trades right around 3:30 p.m., essentially every day, Monday through Thursday, during normal market hours. Maybe takes about 2 minutes to put on the trade. And after that, it becomes second nature because you're doing the same setup each day. And you can take advantage of this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's 4 opportunities, close to 200 trades a year. So I avoid the weekends because there's just too much volatility, and I don't like the extra risk for less reward. Thankfully, that turns out to be really good because we avoided the last couple of weekends, which are ugly, and we just traded Monday through Thursday to follow our rules, and we hit a ton of nice trades. For example, let's look back in March. So March wasn't a great time to be long stocks. This is March of 2024. If you were in stocks, you're losing money. But with overnight options, very different story. Monday, March 18th, little gap up. Tuesday, March 19th, 873, gap up. Wednesday, March 20th, 1712, really nice little move overnight, even though the markets actually fell during the day. Didn't matter. We still captured with the automatic win there. Then Thursday, going into Friday, kind of like we're going to do today, Thursday going into Friday, $416 on that move up there. So all in all, about $3,646 in a single week. Same trade setup, 3:30 p.m. each day, just following along. So if you did that, just clicking a few buttons, at 3:30 with me, your job's done. We set up the target, we set up everything, and you can walk away. So this trade is designed to close out automatically at any point the next day when that target is hit. So once the trade is set, you're free to go live life, and then back at it again Monday the next week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, set it up, close your computer, walk away, and then back at it again on Monday. Now, just to be clear, our back testing was off the charts. I mean, crazy. Better than I could have imagined. I mean, honestly, I was thinking if we got a profit factor of anything over 1, I'd be thrilled. But we're not going to win every single trade, right? I mean, just to be clear, part of the game. We're not going to win every trade. Winners and losers are part of that. So when we do our live trade today, I'm not going to tell anyone, hey, this is the guaranteed winner. Go all in. That's not the way it works. Luckily, you don't have to go all in because the average trade is less than $100. So you can always start small and scale over time. Like the very next week, March 25th, 821 the gap up there. Tuesday, 845, really nice trade here that hit our target and then turned around, fell all day long, but it didn't matter because we already made our money. Wednesday, $500 on this overnight move, a little spike up there. That's all we needed. And then Thursday going into Friday, really nice gap up here overnight, like we've been seeing lately, $942 as well. So another $3,109 in overnight income by the end of the week. Not bad for week's wages, right? But if you think that's good, wait until you see this. Remember, typically all we need is a small move, right? Just a little move overnight, 0.1%, 0.2%, 0.3%, and we're golden, which, as you know, happens more often than not. But what's even better is after we optimize this strategy, we developed a way that we can target the profit, we can target our daily win, even if the market actually falls slightly overnight. For example, let's look at April 1st. Per usual, market didn't move much on April 1st, trading slightly lower during the day. Folks trading, if you're buying an option, it's just losing time decay all day long. However, let's say someone placed a trade right at 3:30 p.m., like we always do before the closing bell. They could have ended up with a nice $492 winner overnight. So April 1st, you set up the trade. April 2nd, you cash out. Now, here's kind of the crazy part. You might have noticed that the market actually fell a little bit overnight. So we actually got a small downside move. And that's because we automatically set ourselves up to give the trade a little bit of room to move down and still get a winner. And the best part about it is we pocket that winner even on those days where the market goes sideways or down just a hair. And then we're done for the day. We pocket that winner, take the risk off the table, get into cash. And in this case, obviously, it was great because the market ended up tumbling lower, and we would have been very, very happy to have taken our trade, get a winner, and not have to worry about what happens after that. And that's not just a random occurrence. The data shows about an 88% win rate on over 400. That says 300 on over 400 overnight opportunities, which is pretty insane. And each one, right about that 823, that's based on a 5K stake. So in that 340 winners that you see here from all of our data, what's cool is that a nice handful of them, 20, 30, 40 trades, actually happened when the market never went up. So I talk about needing that small move up. A nice chunk of these happened when the market never went up and we still hit a target, which is pretty amazing. Now, obviously, the key here is structuring the trade in exactly the right way. So you have to structure the trade at 3:30 p.m. the right way. You have to know which trade you're going to place, right? That's why I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. You can literally go through a class. I will walk you through it step by step, and that way, every day at 3:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday, you will know the rules to setting up the overnight option so that anyone can use it to target extra income right away. It doesn't matter who you are, young or old, anyone can do this. Anyone is welcome to get started. Anyone is welcome to join me today for our next live trade. So I recorded a step-by-step workshop which shows you exactly how to get started with the overnight income project. Click by click, step by step, exactly how to do it. It includes full details from how to place the trade to how the strategy actually works, including how to set up those automatic exit. And I'll also teach you the risk cutting technique that has boosted our win rate significantly over time, which is why historically this strategy wins about 9 out of every 10 times. So typically my strategy classes would be, $497, $997, something like that. But today you get that totally free. It's all part of overnight options. Now, once you get your hands on this step-by-step workshop, I think you'll actually be very surprised at how clear-cut it really is. Most people who join my strategy sessions are kind of surprised at how mechanical the strategy works. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, rinse and repeat the same thing each and every day. So you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to learn that strategy literally in about an hour. And from there, you can start using it every single day, up to 4 times a week. Now, after just a few buttons, again, starting right at 3:30, you can get the trade locked and loaded and then you're done. That's all there is to it. Just like recently in October. So October 2nd, I set up this trade before the closing bell. Anyone who would have followed along could have got an extra income hands-free automatically on that pop. So when I say you set up the trade and then you're done, this is what I mean. That pop, we didn't have to wait for it. We didn't have to stare at our charts. I didn't have to set our exit signal. The broker just automatically cashes us out with that winner every single time it hits. And then it would happen again the next day, October 3rd. Set up the trade, let the overnight action go to work for you. In this case, another $1,000 without clicking a single extra button since the day before when you set up the trade. And you could have been enjoying a morning coffee while thousands of dollars hit your account just waiting for that target to get filled, not doing anything active in your account. Any brokerage account can do this. Robinhood, Thinkorswim, E-Trade. I know some people are using interactive brokers. Tastyworks, all of them. Or 401k IRA works as well. It just has to be set up to trade options. And if you want to see just how powerful overnight options are with your own eyeballs, with real money, then join today's live class where I'll be setting up our next opportunity. So you can follow along. You can watch over my shoulder, copy and paste the actual trade from me. I'll do it with real money in a brokerage account. And once the trade is set, I'll set up the target so that you know your job is done. They're designed to automatically close the next day. And as long as you follow the rules, that's what happens. So today you can access the entire workshop step by step recorded. There's actually about 4 of them in the members area right now. Plus, you can also get the live class today and join us for our next trade just by subscribing to Overnight Options. So this service is solely dedicated to targeting extra income overnight, thanks to a new way to take advantage of that age-old, incredibly powerful overnight phenomenon, which I really believe is the single most powerful and shocking force in the stock market. I mean, imagine trying to trade the stock market and not knowing that all of the potential is overnight. You're missing all of the opportunity. Here, we're tapping into all of the opportunity. I'm happy to announce that after 4 months now of actually trading it live with members, we're at over 80% now. It says 80.6. The profit is over $16,000 just without compounding, just consistently over and over on about 60 alerts. And that number is a little bit higher now. And the cool thing is, like I shared, I'll go back in the track record here. We're doing that. We're at over 80%, even though we've actually been going for larger wins on average, which is really amazing because once you stretch this out and you're trying to go for 20, 25% wins, you would expect that win rate to drop off a cliff, but actually it's maintained up to about 82%. So I'll show you how that actually stacks up over time, which I think is kind of amazing given, again, just everyday mechanical rinse and repeat. So if you take one of the limited spots today, what you're going to get in the membership is my daily trade. So my very best, the one that I'm taking with my own money, the one I would recommend to my own friends and family, that's what you're going to get with about 200 opportunities each and every year. Okay, each one based on the same method that targets about $823 based on a 5K stake 4 times a week. So same criteria, same structure each and every day. Now I'm holding nothing back. Every alert breaks it down for you step by step, the ticker, when to place the trade, the options criteria, entry, exit, it's all in there. Each income alert has clear instructions on how to place the trade. Now, I do all the heavy lifting, guys. I'm trading these myself. I'm doing all the heavy lifting. It's very mechanical. I'm just packaging that opportunity, that real trade, and sending it off to you. You just read the alert and then follow along if you want, just like October 10th. Send it out to members, hit your inbox right around 3:30. If you took that trade, which would have taken about 2 seconds, the next day, boom, $1,481 automatically without taking any extra actions, without waiting for an extra alert or anything else. Doesn't get much better than that. And one of my favorite things about overnight options is you don't need to be sitting next to your computer all day long wondering when is one of these trades going to trigger, because I post every trade right at the same time every day. So it's really, really easy to plan for this strategy and work it into your schedule, and you get plenty of time to get into the trade each and every day. Because I want your experience to be as hands-free as possible. It really is. Same day, same setup. Of course, alongside the email alerts, you also get phone and Telegram alerts just so that you can always see it if you're out and about and make sure that you never miss an opportunity. For example, very next day, right? October 4th. Oh, wow, I can't count. October 11th. Next opportunity, right? This one would have hit that big overnight gap, automatically closed out as soon as the market opened. In this case, about $1,250 automatically without taking a single extra action from the day before. And yes, I'll keep track of the performance for you so you can easily see how we're doing, how we're tracking, and spoiler alert, we're killing it. Now, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that new members have what you need to succeed, all the workshops, everything like that. Just the last 2 trades I showed you would have been about $2,731 in extra income. And this isn't 1999. This is not like saying like, oh, what if you caught Amazon or what if you caught Apple? These are trades I just took recently with real money to give you a real practical example of how overnight options work. So as a member, you'll get about 200 of these opportunities in a single year. So you might be wondering, how is it going to cost $27.31? I mean, you just made that in 2 trades. Well, I think we're eventually going to make this more premium. We haven't done it yet. I've been promising that for a couple months. So we'll see when that happens. But for now, for right now, we've got a crazy offer. And the way overnight options work, if you're not familiar with it, the entire setup is designed to make you feel like you're getting the membership for free. So the way that I structure this offer to get new people in, especially when we do a new live trade like today, the entire structure of the special offer on overnight options makes it so the whole membership is like getting it for free. And I'll walk you through exactly how that works here in just a moment. First, I want to highlight one of the big benefits of overnight options. You see, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but it's really what takes overnight options to a whole new level. And that's the criteria that we actually developed in our testing to get into the right trades at the right time. So according to our track record, basically we went from a 65% win rate if you just kind of close your eyes and use the overnight phenomenon, which, hey, not bad, but this juiced it up all the way over 80% just in our last couple of months of live trading. Now, again, 82% or something like that. So to get an edge that strong, to win 80% of the time at anything in the market, obviously these are not willy-nilly picking any option, right? We use a simple but very powerful set of criteria that automatically get us into the right trade structure each and every day. And again, I explained that in the masterclass. So that's designed to keep us out of the ruts. We don't want to trade, when we don't have the highest probability behind us. And basically, it puts us in a position where we only put our hard-earned money to work if we have high conviction in the opportunity. So we're not going to just say, it's not exactly the right trade, but oh, well, we'll go for it. This mechanical approach makes sure that we have the highest conviction in every alert. Now, the details of how that all works is obviously way too much to cover today, and I wouldn't give that away for free anyway. But if you join overnight options, you're going to get that inside scoop, because that way, once you understand it A to Z, you can actually unlock even more trades. So you can do this on the S&P, on the NASDAQ, gold, small caps like IWM. You can actually use this on some bonus trades if you want, once you learn the strategy. So it's all inside the overnight game plan, how it works, how the data stacks up. And that takes into account 4 market corrections, an entire year of market chop, a full bull run, obviously, like we got in 2022 and 2023 and 2024, high inflation, low, all sorts of economic conditions, which proves it was designed to work regardless of what's going on in the world. And as I'll show you, it actually works really well on some other tickers as well. Now, I'm sure this particular game plan would be worth whatever price we put on. I mean, once you read it, I think you'll agree. Leveraging this overnight market phenomenon, which basically gives you an opportunity to stack up gains every day and just recycle profits in a way that's quicker than any other strategy I know of, is worth its weight in gold. I mean, once you understand this, like I said, you can apply it not just to the trades that I give you, but actually to other trades. And some of our members have already done that. But of course, if you are a member, you get it for free. It's all included, the entire strategy workshop, the entire game plan. It's all in there for you, included at no cost. And remember, taking these trades is about 3 clicks. Even if you're brand new, I think you'll become a pro in no time. Already had a lot of brand new members who are now basically overnight option pros and are even teaching some of our other students. So all you need is a standard brokerage account, internet connection, and you are locked and loaded. Okay, now for the price, which is the question that everyone's asking. Not going to be $5,000. Not going to be $3,500. In fact, not even going to be the $19.97 from the main website. If you'll get an even better deal. So if you're joining today, I've got 2 bonuses that help kick off the brand new membership and make it a no-brainer. So after analyzing more than actually now up to 400 trade opportunities across all different market conditions, I'm blown away by the results of these overnight options. Okay, if you account for all the trades, winning and losing weeks, everything in there, you end up with about $3,000 in income per month. Guys, that's including really tough losing months, like in 2022, still averaging all those in over 3 grand, which brings the total portfolio over $100,000 in profit and over $37,000 per year. So all the market conditions, bear market, bull market, good economies, bad ones, inflation, Fed, all that stuff, $37,000 in extra income. So if you compare that to the S&P 500, it's not exactly a fair comparison, right? The same stake in the S&P 500 delivers $540 per year, while the overnight options have delivered $37,860 per year. So not even close, right? And that's because the overnight options, it's not because the winners are so big or because one trade hits it out of the park. It's because you get to pile up those high probability opportunities 4 times every week. You recycle those profits so much more quickly than you can in any other thing that I've ever discovered. So with that type of data, obviously, I think 200 trade alerts, we could charge a much more premium price for this service, but we're not going to do that. I have something a lot better in mind. Ultimately, my goal, like I said, is to make it feel like it's free so that you get this paid off. Everything after that is gravy. The best kind of testimonials I get from my members is, hey, Nate, I paid off the membership in the first couple of trades. Now I'm on the profit. Those are my favorite kind of things. So the first way to help you do that is the $823 live webinar deal. So like I've shown you, $823, that was the average win from our back testing. And I thought, let's just go ahead and price it at the price of one winner based on the model portfolio. That way you can have a legitimate shot of having the entire year paid off by the time you wake up tomorrow. Again, that's based on the 5K stake. You might go higher, you might go lower, but just based on the model portfolio to literally base it off the value of one trade. Like Ernie, who said, hey, I already made enough for 4 lifetime memberships. Or Tim said he doubled the cost of the program. Keep it up. Again, I love getting that kind of feedback because my goal here is obviously, yes, I want to sell a service. I'm running a business here, but I want to get you in the position where you paid it and now you have a positive ROI on your time. So again, not $19.97, only $823, priced at the average overnight winner. We also have a special deal for the 3-year. Okay. Now, just to really lay it on thick, we actually have a 3-for-2 bonus that I think do we still actually even have the 1223? I thought we might have even pulled that off already.
No, it's still active.
Okay. All right. So you got one more day then on the 1223.
Absolutely, Nate.
Okay, cool. So 3-for-2, you have, I believe, until midnight. I'll check with the team. I believe until midnight on the 3-for-2. I thought we'd already taken off before our last trade room. So sorry for missing that. But you get 3 years, which brings the price. What is that, like $390? Or no, like $420 a year. That's crazy. And so we'll drop the link here and you can get access to that. And obviously, I encourage you to take the 3-year special. It's first come, first serve. If we get too many people for the trade room, obviously, like always, we close down the offer. We don't want to have a crazy trade room where I can't deal with everyone. And that also is what's going to determine when we actually raise the price back again for overnight options. So we're going to drop the link here in 1 second. But before we do, one final bonus here. Like I mentioned, the idea here is to make the membership feel like it doesn't cost you a dime and to get you to have it technically paid off before the next trade alert. So we want you to get to the position where it's icing on the top, right? It's paid off. That's why we do the overnight options live trade scholarship. One of my favorite things to do. Basically at 3 p.m. today, I'm going to host our next live room. We'll be taking our trade and we'll have another opportunity to target about $823 based on the 5K, which is enough to cover the entire membership fee. So you'll be able to look over my shoulder, follow step by step if you'd like to. Now, of course, I can't guarantee today's trade is going to be a winner, right? It could be a loser today, could be a winner. I can't guarantee anything. Over 80% confidence. But since I can't guarantee to get you started and get your membership paid off on the first trade, here's what I can do. I cannot start your membership until the model portfolio shows that 823 profit. So whether it takes 1 trade, 5 trades, 10 trades, we'll actually delay ticking off the membership and won't start it until the membership is 100% paid off according to the live trade tracker. So we'll wait to start ticking your time off the membership until we get to that point. Now, of course, you still got to join today. You got to lock in your membership so our systems are able to send you access, all that good stuff, but it won't actually start ticking until we hit that point. So join today, limited time, first come, first serve. You can hit the link that we're dropping in the chat right now, or you can go to prosperitypub.com/823. That will also get you locked in for the membership right now at the discount. You can get the 3 for 2 special if you want. Take advantage of that while we have it. I believe that closes at midnight. I actually thought it was already closed, but maybe it's tonight at midnight. You can also call our team, 321-883-962. And Raleigh we actually have a new phone number in there too that Raleigh might have dropped for you guys as well. It's even a more direct line. So use the number in the chat. That's even easier, which I believe Raleigh just dropped for you as well. But remember, live trading today, 3 p.m. We're going to go into the live markets today at 3 o'clock, walk through the opportunity, do some Q&A, and then, of course, live trade it with all of you, real money, so you can see it in real time. And again, that opportunity is going to close at midnight specifically for that 3 for 2 reform right now. So we got Jeff made $3,700. We got Roger who's up $15,000. We got Ron D who's up $3,700. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to be next in line. Now, Ron said, I'm joining Lifetime, and that makes the question obvious. How do you get Lifetime? Well, it's really easy. Just don't close the next page. Once you join 1 year or 3 year, just go to that next page where there's even a bigger discount to go ahead and take advantage of Lifetime. And I do have a bonus for all my Lifetime members, by the way. So if you join Overnight Options and you want to become a Lifetime member, on that next page, click yes, lock in Lifetime, and then I have a little VIP bonus training in there for my Lifetime members. I always like to try to do something special, some special bonus for the Lifetime members, and so that's in there for you as well. So again, live trading today at 3 p.m. If you're in this room, click that link or click the link in the chat or call the phone number, get your spot locked in today in the next hour, then log into our live webinar. I'll be hanging out there with all the members. We'll do some Q&A. We'll pull up the brokerage account. We'll trade it live. Target going 4 for 4 on the week, another perfect week, which are always the most fun weeks, of course. So just take advantage of that in the next hour if you want to be part of that live class. Okay? Excuse me. Let me cover a couple of the questions that we always get here, and then I will also jump into the chat. So how much money is needed on the average trade? Well, the average trade is around $65. So you can start with one contract and trade this very cheap. As a matter of fact, in our last live class, I traded with a $500 account just to show people how to get started small. So you can absolutely start small and scale up over time. Is this day trading? This is probably the most important question here. Is it day trading? Because people hear 24 hours, overnight moves. Sometimes you're only in the trade for a couple hours of actual market action. But the cool thing is here, we're actually avoiding day trading altogether because we're entering the market today and closing out tomorrow. So we're avoiding that day trading rule altogether based on the way we do it, which is kind of one of the cheat codes here of this strategy. Now, to be clear, since we set that target, you could accidentally get into a day trade. You could set the target today at 3:30. It could hit the target by 4 p.m., and you could get out with a winning trade too fast. First of all, that's a good problem to have. Second of all, it's not a problem because you're not going to do that multiple times a week. So you're not going to have that issue. And by the way, if you want to avoid it completely, just wait and set up the target after the markets close, and you don't have any issue whatsoever. Will every trade be a winner? No, of course not. Should you be worried about more downside? I think yes. I think we're in this volatility for the long haul, back and forth, pops and drops, liquidity yanks. I think that's part of the game, but we don't care about that. We're just taking a small move is all we need, up and down, just like this week. 3 trades, 3 wins just from the volatility this week. Can I trade an IRA or 401k? Yes. Retirement account friendly, defined risk, all that good stuff. What's today's trade? Well, 3 p.m. We're going to do it live, so be there. What's the max risk? Whatever you pay is the max risk, okay? So whatever you pay for the trade is the max risk that you can lose. Why don't we trade on Friday? Well, trading over the weekend, just like the last 2 weekends have shown, they bring a lot of extra volatility into play. And so what we want to do is we want to avoid any volatility that doesn't give us an extra bang, an extra risk to reward bang for our buck. We want to avoid that, and so we avoid weekends as a general rule. Now, sometimes I do some bonus weekend trades that I set up a little differently. I'll show you how that works. But as a rule, we do not trade over the weekend. How do you close the trade? Well, the automated exit, you don't do anything. You literally set up that exit today as we fill the trade, And then you do nothing. Close your computer, walk away, ignore the markets, and let that trade close out automatically. Is there a guarantee? Yes, you get 100 days with overnight options. So, you're probably going to get 60, 70 different trades that you can take with overnight options to decide, do you like it? Is it a fit? Hopefully we hit lots of winners and you love it. But you can decide if it's right for you in that 100-day period. Do I trade these with my own money? Yes, I do. What happens if you miss a trade? Well, it's no big deal because you're going to get about 200 opportunities. So if you miss a single trade, it's not like you're missing, once in a lifetime opportunity. We just go back to the, bank and swing the bat over and over again. So no big deal to miss a trade. Do you have to be glued to the computer? Nope. Entries are going to come right around 3:30. Exits are going to be automatic. It's about as mechanical and easy of a process as you could possibly imagine. Are there any other bonus methods that I teach you? Yes, you got to be a VIP. You got to be a lifetime member, and you'll get that extra class to take advantage of that. Will it be $19.97? No, not yet. It is only $8.23. Yes, that's a real price. 1 year, even though you're getting 200 trades, it is actually $8.23. It's my cheapest service, even though you're getting a ton of trades. And as I showed you, we are on an absolute tear here. Now, I do want to take a moment and talk about the fact that our win rate over time, including all our testing data, is about 88%. Okay, but as I talked about today, our live trading, it's about 82% in the last couple of months. People said, "Oh, Nate, your win rate's gone down." Well, our win rate's gone down, but our profit factor, which is the most important stat, has actually gone up. Why? Well, let me show you. The gain column here, you can see 20%, 21%, 23%, 20%, 24%, 23%, 20, 20, 20, 29, 29, 34, 22, 35, 32. Okay, so you're seeing now the average win across all of these trades, across, 402 trades, is 18%. Okay, so this is the average win, right? But lately, you can see the average win is almost 25%. So we're trading a little bit lower win rate to take full advantage of this opportunity with a bigger average win, which is why our profit factor has gone up. So when you see that, when I talk about the 88% win rate, but then I talk about the 82% win rate, those are the two things I'm talking about. The 88% win rate is based on the entire history here of 400 trades. And then the 82% win rate is based on our last 4 months of live trading in these real markets, really trading directly into the teeth of the volatility, where our average win rate, our average win has gone up. And as you can see, going back to the beginning of January here, we've just been on a tear. Here's a nice 41% winner, by the way. 6 out of 7, 8 out of 9, 6 out of 7 again. I mean, so yeah, our win rate has dropped a little bit, but we're still absolutely on fire here with the recent track record. So hopefully everyone who's in here is excited about that potential. Hopefully we get another one today at 3 p.m. I've been loving this volatility. It's been exactly like we predicted for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but I'm really encouraged by the fact that everyone who's kind of been focused on what we've been talking about has done really well. Not just on overnight options, which I'm most excited about, but even on stuff like sharing XLE last week in the free session. If you guys traded the energy snapback, made some money on that. If you traded the CCJ jump after the NVIDIA drop, made some money on that. If you trade the QQQ intraday break that I shared for free on Telegram yesterday, made about 200% on that in about 30 minutes. So this is exactly the kind of stuff that we've been leaning into and what I'm really excited about. So again, this is not meant for me to be a pat myself on the back session. What I'm saying to you is things are aligning with how we've planned and how we predicted. And I would love for you guys to jump in while that's the case and while we're taking full advantage of it. And so I'd love for you guys to join and take advantage today and get started tonight with our first free trade we're going to do live.
And I think that's great. And I just want to clarify for everybody, if you're already a member or if you're just joining right now, in roughly speaking, like a couple of hours, you can rejoin Nate and at 3 o'clock Eastern time and watch him as he prepares to place a live trade, using the alert that he's sending out at 3:30 p.m. And let's see if we can go 4 for 4 this week. Nate, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and we'll open the room at 3 o'clock, so we'll have plenty of time to jump in there, do some Q&A, talk about what's going on, and then we'll dive into that trade at 3:30. So you got plenty of time.
Outstanding. Well, several questions came up during the presentation, but you answered most of them because it was very, very comprehensive. But one of the questions that came up, somebody was saying, hey, I understand that this is not buying calls and buying puts, so this is a spread. Am I placing multiple trades or am I just placing a single trade?
Yeah, it's one ticket, one trade. So,
Okay.
and that's really important because number one, that makes sure that you get filled at the right pricing, all that kind of stuff. But it also makes it so that you can get that automatic exit to work, right? Because you need that automatic exit to be based on one trade. So that up, down, sideways, the market is looking for that one target to fill you, exit the trade, and get those automatic wins. Which, for most of my members, if you talk to my members about, what we've been up to the last couple of years, I'm sure they'll share lots of stuff, jumping on gold at the right time, some of these intraday trades we've made, different stuff like that. But those automatic exits are what all of them will say has been the most fun. That's been a game changer. Let the market do the work and cash you out when it hits your position, whether you're paying attention. I mean, I've so many testimonies, guys. I was operating on someone in the emergency room as a doctor, and I felt my phone vibrate. And 2 hours later, when I was actually able to pull it out of my pocket, it was saying, "Hey, you hit another automatic winner." I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I've been getting feedback on, and it's an absolute game changer. Because how do most people trade? They stare at a chart and think, "Should I get out now? Should I get out in 5 minutes from now? Wait, is this the big?" I like to take that completely out of the context, use a mechanical edge that we know what an average winner should look like. We set up using the correct guidelines and just let the market go to work for you. I mean, I know I'm in way too many meetings to be able to manage every day of price action
Sure.
and do that myself anyway. So if I was trying to follow a service that I had to wait for an exit signal, good luck. I'd be stuck.
Nate had some people asking the question, how do gap openings affect this strategy?
So it depends. Gap down, we grit our teeth and say, "Uh-oh, let's wait for the market to move up," right? Because we want that market to come back up into play.
Right.
Right now, we're winning even on the majority of gap downs, which I think is incredible. I almost want to preface that by saying, don't expect that to always be the case. If you get a big gap down, prepared to take some losers. But this volatility has been so beautiful, Raleigh, that even on a gap down, we've been seeing the market spike back over the previous open and get us locked in with winners. So that's been a lot of fun. Gap ups are much more fun.
Absolutely.
Because
Hit your target right away.
Here's what happens on a gap up most of the time if it's a big gap up. You set your target for 20%, you check your broker and you don't notice that you made 28% because the market actually fills you above your target, which most people don't even realize is possible, but it's actually one of the very fun bonuses of trading this way, where the market will actually fill you for more money than you even asked for, which again, kind of a crazy, kind of a crazy thing that most people don't realize happens. But actually, the brokers are required to fill you within that level in the last ask bid. So they are required legally to give you a good price on that market open, which often means getting even more money than you intended to make on a trade.
And Nate, somebody asked the question as to why do the wins vary so much? Is it for that reason that you just talked about?
Two big reasons. So one is the price you pay when you get into the trade. So the average trade, like I shared, is about 65 to 70 cents. If you pay a little bit less, your average wins a little bit more on a percentage basis. And then the big reason is those gap ups. You saw that 45% win.
Right.
We were only targeting 20%. And we accidentally made 45% because of the market move so much. So that's those are the bonus trades.
Excellent. Let's see here. So we had several questions with regard. So let me see. Oh yeah, here's one. When the alert comes out at 3:30, Nate, do I have to get it in at 3:30, or is it good enough for me to get in before the market closes?
Yeah, great question. So you actually have until 4:15 to get the trade in, because the options that we trade 15 minutes past market close. So you have 45 minutes from the time that alert gets in. Now, just to be clear, sometimes the market will happen to bounce up in the last half hour of the day. So you might get a little bit different price. But some of the times it'll bounce down a little bit and you'll get a better price than we got. So it's just going to be kind of a balancing out, like any strategy, where you might pay a few pennies more, you might pay a few pennies less, but the rules are very simple. As long as you get in by 4:15 p.m., good to go.
Excellent. And the last question, I'm going to kind of group this. Several people basically said, whether it was on trade stations or interactive brokers or what was the other one, or Robinhood, they seem to be having some difficulty placing these trades. And I don't know why that is. Do you know of any reason why there might be difficulties, or should these? One gentleman, I basically said, look, you just need to call your rep and say, look, this is the trade I'm planning on placing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Help me do that, or show me how to do that. That was a trade station question.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I recommend in this situation. Number one, obviously start by making sure you have the right permissions. So to trade spreads, you need to have level 2 or level 3, just depending on what your broker says. Again, I won't go on my whole soapbox about how ridiculous it is that they stop you from getting spreads, but that's typically what you need to do. Have level 2, level 3, step 1. Step 2, if you use what I use, which is Schwab Think or Swim, watch all my classes, because then it's really easy because you'll see a dozen trades that I do.
Right.
Step 3, YouTube. So YouTube, how to trade a debit spread on Tastyworks, how to trade a debit spread on Robinhood. Watch someone go through the actual steps, doing it live a couple times, do it side by side. And then step 4, exactly what you said. Call your broker, say, hey, here's a trade that I'd like to place. Buy blah, blah, blah option at blah, blah, blah price. Can you put this trade in for me? And they will say yes. And if they don't say yes, then you need a new broker. But they will do that for you. As a matter of fact, I still have quite a few members who call in their trades every day. They're comfortable with that. They want to make sure that they can read the alert, and that someone else on the other end of the phone is going to make sure that it makes sense. And that's totally fine.
Absolutely. It's a good point. So the bottom line here, folks, is that there's no reason, if you're using quote unquote a reputable broker that allows you to trade US stocks and options, why you should not be able to place these trades, even in a retirement account. You just need to make sure that you have the right options level. You need options 2 or 3. You need to be able to trade a spread.
Yep.
Okay. And if you can go ahead and do that, then you should be good to go. And I see a gentleman posted, said, hey, I use Tasty Trade, no problems whatsoever. And I've seen your videos, Nate. And once again, you do a great job of walking people through exactly how to do this in Thinkorswim. It was in your last masterclass session. So
yeah, and I actually last time I did pull up a Robinhood account because I still had a couple $100 in a Robinhood account. I walked people through that, and then I pulled up a Tasty Trade account that I still had a couple $100 in, and I showed that. So I actually have masterclasses that have all 3 of those mixed in somewhere. I'd probably have to look to point you to exactly the right one, but the point is lots of resources both with inside the members area. And frankly, again, on YouTube, just if you want to make it easy on yourself and pull it right up and watch someone do it, in the broker that's right for you.
That makes great sense. Hey, folks, we've got Nate for about 1 more minute because he's got to get ready for the 3 o'clock masterclass that he's going to be holding. And if all of you are members, man, jump in there at 3 o'clock. Watch him as he gets ready to trade. Watch him as he places a trade at 3:30. Take the same trade if you want, and just follow all the instructions, have good Q&A. It's a community that he's building here. And once again, this is 4 times a week. As long as, the markets are open, you're ready to rock and roll. Nate, thank you so much for your time today. Number one, also thank you for all the work that you put into making this available. I know that some people have questions here like, how is this different than your automated options program? I mean, because you have a number of ways to trade the markets. You want to address that one real quickly?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So one thing you'll note, which I'm sure is kind of what they're getting at here, is that a lot of the trade structures I use are the same or very similar at least. So, a lot of the kind of the way that I'll structure a spread, the way that I'll use the automatic exit is very similar. And then the strategy comes into play. Okay, how am I leveraging that structure? So in overnight options, we're leveraging it really to take advantage of this phenomenon of the overnight move and how much of an advantage that gives you up to about 200 times a year. So in function, overnight options is going to operate a lot differently than automated options. It's going to operate with an everyday trade Monday through Thursday, which is exactly the opposite of automated options, which only trades on Fridays, which I didn't even do that on purpose, but it happens to be perfectly complement each other. One trades Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the other one trades Friday. So that's different. The other thing is the way that we're setting up the trade is less directional in overnight options. If you don't know what that means, join the masterclass. You'll know exactly what it means. And then the other thing, Raleigh, is the target. So in automated options, almost always targeting right around 50% gain over the course of 2 weeks. Here, the average win is going to be 18 to 20%. So those are the areas, again, the structure itself, very similar, but the actual application drastically different between those 2 strategies.
Excellent. Nate, thank you very much for that, my friend. And once again, have a terrific day. Good luck today. I had to say good luck, but there's not luck involved in this. I'm just saying it. But anyway, have a good session this afternoon. I know it's going to be extremely well attended. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results, because the cool thing is this, guys. He's going to place the trade tonight, and he's got 24 hours to have it work for him. Everything breaks his way, he could be out by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, or if he needs to hold on a little bit longer, he'll take it through the afternoon. But this is an overnight trade.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, Raleigh, again for hosting. I appreciate you, as always, putting all the extra time in to bring people up to speed, to do the recaps, all that kind of stuff, to make sure people get an opportunity. And I'm just looking forward to seeing as many people as possible here in about 45 minutes.
Sounds great, my man. Take care, Nate. Have a great day, buddy.
Bye.
So, okay, folks, for those of you that came a little bit late to the presentation and wondering, who is this guy I'm looking at? My name is Raleigh White, and I am the senior moderator here at the Prosperity Pub and the Trading Pub. And I have the great good fortune to be able to, work with wonderful people like Nate Tucci, who essentially, you know what they're doing, folks? They have created strategies that give them an edge in their personal trading. That's where it all starts. And once they discover something that has just really nice success, and it's repeatable, and it provides a rateable return that's comfortable with them, that's when they bring that edge to the rest of us. I will call that the trading public. And that's what happened today with overnight options. Now, this is a live presentation. And if any of you would like to have a link to a copy of this presentation, all you need to do, folks, is three things. Put your name and your email address and say, send me the replay. Put that in the chat window. I'm the only one that's going to see your email information, so it's private. And when we're done here, I'll give that information to our customer care team, and we will email you a link to this presentation as soon as it's available. Now, I'm going to do a quick little summary over today's presentation, and then I'm going to come back into the chat, I'm going to come back into the chat, but there's a couple of things I want to answer really quickly. Steven says, hey, are these day trades? No, these are not day trades. A trade is placed at an alert's going to come out at 3:30 p.m. You have 45 minutes to get it into the market before the market closes, okay? Because these particular tickers, whether it's the SPY or the QQQ, they basically are open until 4:15. And you're going to basically exit the trade the next day. So these are not day trades. There's no issue with the day trading rule there. So I hope that helps you. Matthew says, where do we go at 3 o'clock to join the live trade? It's going to be posted in your members area, and you will get an email and a text alert advising you. Once again, if you are a member, this is members only. Okay, if you're a member, you're going to be advised, you're going to get a link that's a Zoom presentation where you can go in for today's master class. So those are a couple of quick things that I wanted to answer. So this is a summary I prepared here, folks. And what I've done is I've stripped out, all the marketing material, all the testimonials, etc., just to go over the basic program and the special offers that are available. Put your questions in the chat panel, and I'll come back and answer them when I'm done. So today's focus was on overnight options, and it's a service that's solely dedicated to targeting extra income overnight, thanks to a new way to take advantage of an age-old market phenomenon. And this is the part that really kind of blew me away until I saw this chart. But if you look at this chart, it dates all the way back to 1993. So what are we, almost 31 years, okay? Now, the blue line here, okay, that you see highlighted in red, shows you the movement during the regular market hours from 9:30 to 4 p.m. So we're going back now, once again, we're going back 31 years, and you can see there really is very, very little movement in pricing during what we call the normal market areas. However, if you take a look at the orange line here, which is highlighted by green, this is what happens to the pricing between 4 p.m. and 9:30 a.m. So this is what we call overnight, or after the markets are closed. And this is where you see so much movement. So as you can clearly see, almost no money is really made during the day. okay, in the broad market, okay? And the best returns tend to happen overnight. So we've had this data for years, but no one we know has been able to regularly profit from it until we figured this out now. And we're happy to tell you that after analyzing 380 plus overnight trades, our final study shows an 88.1% win rate using the overnight option strategy I'm going to share with you in a bit. But I thought I would just set the table by saying, here's what the results have been. So what can you expect? When you join this program, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that the market is open, we're going to send you our best alert. So 4 days a week, as long as those are trading days, we're going to send you an alert, okay? And just as a spoiler, we avoid weekends because there's too much volatility and we don't like the extra risk for less reward. So you will not be getting a trade alert on a Friday with the idea that you're getting out on Monday because there's too much crazy stuff that goes on over the weekend. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can expect an alert. Now, each overnight option alert, we're going to break it down for you step by step. We're going to give you the ticker, when to place the trade, the options criteria, entry and exit, everything that you need is there. Now, if we go back to Monday, March 18th, let's take a look at what happened during this week. On Monday, March 18th, we saw an opportunity to get into the market, and we made $538 on that particular trade. The next day, once again, Tuesday, March 17th, we made $873 in overnight profits. On Wednesday, we made $1,712 in overnight profits. Going to Thursday, going into Friday, we made $416 overnight. So we had a winner Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from this week in March. All in all, that would have been about $3,646 in overnight income for the week. Now, folks, this was based on a $5,000 starting stake. So $5,000 was invested Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we made $3,646. However, this program doesn't require you to have that kind of coin involved. Let's say, for example, that you had put $500 into every transaction, then you would have walked away with $364 that week. That's what your return would have been investing $500 in each one of those trades. Now, to help get the hang of things as quickly as possible, Nate's recorded a live step-by-step workshop that shows you exactly how you can start targeting these payouts with just a few clicks of the mouse. It'll include full details from how to place your first trade to how the overnight options work, including how to set automated exits for maximum gains. And we're also going to teach you a risk cutting technique that our team picked up that increases our over win rate by 20%. It gives us extra peace of mind when placing these trades, knowing that they've worked out roughly 9 out of 10 times. All right. Now, don't feel like you need to be sitting in front of your computer all day long to take advantage of this. Here's the way it works. We'll post the trade every day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That way you have plenty of time to get in before the market closes. So when that alert comes out at 3:30, you have until 4:15 p.m. to get that trade in the market. So that's what you need to do to take advantage of that opportunity. Now, in addition to the email, you can also sign up to get text or telegram alerts that tells you once again that there's a trade waiting for you. So let's say you're out running an errand or you're at work or you're doing something or whatnot, you can get a text message or a telegram message or both if you want, telling you, hey, there's a trade waiting for you. And once again, you have 45 minutes to get that trade into the market. And yes, do we track everything? Absolutely. We have an official trade tracker. It's a big spreadsheet in the members area where Nate basically puts every single alert that he has issued in this program. So when you go there, not only will you see all the test data that was there, you'll see all the live alerts as well. And obviously it's organic because we're adding 4 trades every week to it. So it's an ongoing representation of how the system is performing. It is independently audited, and it gives us complete transaction on every live alert we've issued, and that's available to you in your members area 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So when we take a look at that once again, and this is what I mean, when you go into the trade tracker, you'll be able to see all 380 plus of these trades that were placed. And if you take a look at, I guess in the month of, what is this, January, we had 10 out of 11 winning trades. And if we come back here into the first week in February, where we are right now, we have 3 trades this week. All 3 of them are winners. And they certainly hoping when he places that trade today, that will be the 4th winner this week. So we're doing extremely well here in these very, very turbulent times. Trades going back to the beginning of 2025. Now, we're also doing everything we can to make sure that new members have everything that you need to succeed. And for that standpoint, we're going to provide you with the options game plan. It's full details on all the data that's shown the power to keep the win rate high over the past 4.5 years. Nate wants to give you as much information as he can possibly provide to help you understand the power of these options and how to leverage these alerts to maximum gain for yourself. And all you need to make the program work, guys, is a standard brokerage account, internet connection, and a few minutes to set the trade before the end of the day. So even if you have a full-time job or you're doing something else, set your calendar 3:30 every day. Expect that you're going to get a trade alert and take a few minutes to get it entered. Shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes to complete the process. So even if you're very busy, you should be able to do that. And once again, you have 45 minutes to get that trade in. And by the way, if for whatever reason you miss it, don't sweat it. Okay. Hey, if you miss Tuesday's trade, don't worry about it. There's going to be one on Wednesday. There's going to be one on Thursday. So don't get all bent out of shape or feel like you missed a big opportunity. You're going to be getting 4 trades every week. Just move on and go to the next trade. As it relates to pricing, the regular price is going to be $19.97 per year. But what Nate wanted to do, once again, since he's just really excited about this program, is 2025, and he wants to get as many people on board as possible, is he's knocking $1,174 off the price and making it available for $823. So all you have to do is go to prosperitypub.com, 823. Click on that link, $823 will get you this for 1 year. Now let's look at some frequently asked questions. How much money is needed? Well, the trades average around 60 dirt cheap. That's crazy. So $65 for a single contract trading an option means that, hey, if you just open up a small account, like a $2,000 account, my gosh, you're risking what, 2-3% of your account to trade a single contract. Start small and build. But you can see at $65 average cost per trade, very, very inexpensive. And we think this is very small account friendly. Is this day trading? Absolutely not. That question was asked earlier. Where basically, I guess Nate said technically, if you get in it at 3:30 and the stock just goes bonkers and you hit your profit target before the end of the day, well, you have a day trade, but so what? Doesn't matter. Your limit, you can have 3 of those a week, but it rarely happens. You're getting in at 3:30 and you're exiting the next day. So you don't have to have a $25,000 account. Don't worry about pattern day trading. It's not an issue here at all. Should I be worried about more downside in the markets here? Well, generally speaking, probably yes, but not for this program, because that's the beauty of this system. We're just looking for a small move in the stock, a very, very small move in the stock. And so regardless of what the market might be doing, we once again, we're getting at 3:30, the day before. We expect that there's going to be some volatility overnight. We get into it into the next day. We're looking for a small move, get out of the market. And so we don't have a ton of exposure. And if you consider all the back testing that we've done on this, we have gone back through just so many periods of volatility up and down, but it hasn't had a material impact on our performance. Can I trade it in a retirement account? Yes, it is retirement account friendly. Just need to make sure that you have the ability to trade spreads. So that's level 2 or level 3, depending on the broker that you're using, and you'll be able to trade in that account. What's the max risk per trade? Well, the average contract is $60 to $75. So it's not expensive, but please understand this, your max risk is whatever you invest. So if you're putting $60 into the trade, per contract, you should be prepared that if it's a bad trade, you're going to lose $60. Now, the studies basically shows that the average loss is somewhere around 72%. So there may be some times there where, once again, Nate might be looking to minimize the risk, but generally speaking, he just lets the trades close themselves out. So, but it's not possible for you to lose more. This is defined risk. It's not a naked option where you go in there and your entire account is fleeced out. So you need to be prepared that there's an 80% plus win rate on this, but you're potentially, if the trade goes against you, you could lose 100% of your investment. Why don't you trade on a Friday? Well, I think we addressed this because the markets can go bonkers over the weekends and work against us, and there's really no need at this point in time to take on that extra risk. How do we close the trade? Well, there is an automated exit, and that gets you out of the trade. You don't have to do anything, and he's going to teach you how to do it step by step and just let you do the work. He'll show you how to set up those exits. Is there a guarantee? Yes, there's a 100-day guarantee. That means regardless of whichever program you go with, 1 year, 3 year, or lifetime, you have 100 days from your date of purchase to take full advantage of the program. And 100 days is about 14 weeks. So what's 14 times 4? What? 56 trades. So you have the opportunity to participate in 56 trades. But if for any reason during that 100 days, you just want to get out of it, you want your money back, call us and we'll refund every penny. If you hold it more than 100 days, it's yours, and that won't be a problem, because if you're in that, their cup of tea. And if that's the case, you call us within the first 100 days and tell us that you want your money back, and we'll take care of you. Does Nate trade these with his own money? Absolutely. Absolutely. Every single alert that he does, he trades himself. Now, he waits a few minutes after the alert goes out because he never wants to be in a position where he's front running his clients, but he'll wait and give you first crack at the trade. But he places his own money on every trade. What happens if you miss the trade? As I said, don't worry. There's 4 opportunities a week. Don't sweat it. Just wait for the next day. Do I have to be glued to the computer to take the entries? No. Once again, the entries are going to happen at 3:30 every day, and the exits are automated. You don't even have to look at your charts. All you have to do is open your brokerage statement, enter the information, and go with it. Are there any other methods to teach in the masterclass and trainings? Yeah, he's going to show you and give you details and a few little tricks on how you can increase your profit potential by 20 to 30% more. Once again, you might be this is a situation where you might be taking on more risk, but the upside is significant. Whether you want to do it or not, that's up to you, but he's going to show you additional ways how you can leverage these opportunities. So prosperitypub.com. Once again, /823. That'll take you right where it needs to go. And let me see here. I'm going to let me put some other information in here because I want to make sure that I cover the pricing for you. Here you go. So the pricing, 1 year is $823. The 3-year program, which goes away at midnight tonight, is $1223. The lifetime cost of the program is $2620. So if you join the 1 year or the 3-year program, you'll have an opportunity to upgrade to lifetime for $2620. There's a 100-day guarantee that applies whether you go with 1, 3-year or lifetime. And as we mentioned, that masterclass today, February 6th at 3 p.m., come in, watch, Nathan get ready to trade the markets and actually place that live trade at 3:30 today. So let me go in and see if there's any questions that I can answer here. I see several of you have asked for a replay. No problem with that whatsoever. Okay. So I'm looking at a note here from Dora Lacey's. Okay, yes, this was called I'm answering a question about another program of Nathan's. And and call our sales department on that. Okay. All right. Well, folks, it looks like things have quieted down. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I'm going to save the chat panel here so that I can send your email information to our customer care team. That's for the folks that have requested a replay. I hope the rest of your Thursday is just outstanding, that you have a good Friday. I also, really do hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you at a future event. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you folks for joining. I hope you have found this presentation useful, and hope that you are one of our next overnight options members. I'll keep the room open for a little bit longer in case anyone has some last minute questions I can help out with.